Next, we move on upstream and along the Thames, where we'll be hosted by Chelsea. Kick-off on Sundays at 2 p.m, and travel's going to be a right pain. The District Line is going to be closed past Embankment this weekend, thus closing Fulham Broadway station in the process. I fear I'm going to have to locate my sturdy walking boots for this one. So, Chelsea then. Well, for years everyone was saying that if anything happened to Abramovich and the slightly suspect money that he was running through the club, there might be consequences, and so it would seem. Their operating loss in 2022-23 was a whopping £249 million. The losses for PSR purposes were some £89 million, which is within the £105 million that the rules allow for. However, those figures take into account the sale of a couple of hotels for £76 million. But for that sale, the rules would have been breached, with a serious points deduction being on the cards for this season. The iffy thing about the hotel sale was the fact that it was sold to the club's parent company. Asset sales don't usually get taken into account in the Football League when looking at the finances. Sheffield Wednesday tried something similar a while back by selling their ground to their owner, a move that cost them 6 points. However, a proposal that the same should apply in the top flight didn't receive enough votes, so it looks as if Chelsea have gotten away with it, for the time being. You see, this time next season they won't have the two hotels to sell, and the proposed new spending caps rules, if approved, won't kick in until 2025-26, which means that either they will face a hefty points deduction next season, or we'll see a big fire sale of players during the close season to cut the deficit enough to carry them through until there's another set of rules for them to try and dodge. Daisy was overjoyed, if not actually surprised, that they had no action in the winter transfer window, they more than most being fearful of sanction. That was possibly a sensible move, given that they laid out the thick end of £400 million in the summer with very mixed results. Nicholas Jackson, for example, has become notorious for his somewhat profligate nature in front of goal, whilst £53 million midfielder Lavio's luck with injuries makes Calvin Phillips look like he's been carrying a shed-load of four-leaf clover around with him. The potential sanctions probably saved them from their cells. On the pitch this season, they've been kind of muddling through in mid-table. Their last 11 matches have seen them win 6, draw 4 and lose just the one, which was the 5-0 tonking at Arsenal, sealing Arsenal's likely second place, as opposed to third, which was their only other realistic option. Chelsea's latest result, a 2-0 win over Spurs, was enough to take them over us into 8th place, which is above us by 2 points and a game in hand. This would be a good weekend to pick up a double then, though they're unbeaten in 17 at their hotel complex, which of course they don't own. They would like to make that very clear, apparently. And let's move on, shall we, to the wild and wacky world of association football. And ever quick to join the party, the FA have finally issued Newcastle's Sandro Tonali a ban for betting offences committed after he joined Newcastle. The bizarre thing about that was that the offences appear to have been committed after the player attended an FA course on the evils of betting. The excuse given for his subsequent lapse was that his English wasn't good enough for him to understand the course. His 2-month ban is suspended until the end of next season and will disappear completely as long as he can keep his nose clean over that period. Let's hope that was explained to him in Italian. Elsewhere, the trade description people might just want to have a quiet word with Sky about their trailers for the forthcoming Liverpool versus Spurs game, which is being peeled as part of the race for the title. Yeah, right. And congratulations to Leicester City for winning the championship, replacing Sheffield United. The unusual thing about the swap is that both sides are looking at likely points deductions as soon as they arrive in their new homes. I did say it was crazy and wacky. And so to us. Well, despite Liverpool whining incessantly about the bizarre refereeing issue over Areola's injury incident, a cock-up that was pure Anthony Taylor, they got more of the rub of the green with the officials as usual. It took Taylor 92 minutes to give Antonio a free kick, despite the constant illegal attentions he received. The best one was where Taylor, right in front of him, managed not to see a shirt pull, a trip, and a final shove in the back in the space of 1 3-second run. I'm not entirely sure there wasn't actually a shout for a penalty right at the end, as a cross was cut out. Certainly the players thought there was something in it, but it was mysteriously ignored by the BBC when I got home to watch the highlights. Liverpool were, for about 2/3 of the game, not very good. Yeah, they had umpteen% possession, but giving them the ball was like giving a Tottenham supporter a book with no pictures in it. They simply hadn't got a clue what to do. Yes, they had that spell straight after the resumption where they looked a bit sharper, but even then they required a goal of such flukiness that if I were them, I wouldn't bother doing the lottery for the next 3 years or so, that being the amount they must have used up in one go. This weekend, on the injury front, we're still sweating over the availability of Mavropanos and or Aguirre. Either would be a blessing from a pure pace point of view, given the state of Zuma's knees and the effects of the passage of time on Oggy, bless him. Dinos is more likely to be closer to return, given that he was said to be quite close last week. And so to the prediction. Well, we need to be up for this one in exactly the same way as we weren't in our last 2 London derbies. A win would, above all else, be hilarious. But even though for once it is they who will have been on Thursday-Sunday treadmill, I think their home record may well assert itself here. On that basis, I'm going to prompt for a draw, so the £2.50 I was going to help send into the Save the Pensioners Fund will instead be going on a 2-all draw. Make it so, Mr. Winston, make it so.